Welcome everyone to Selenium Training by Wisdom Trainings. And today we will take a overlook of what actually is going to happen in this Selenium Python course. What is Selenium? The very first question pops up in the mind that what actually is Selenium? Why are we learning Selenium? So Selenium is an automation testing tool for web-based application. Note, it's a web-based application. It will not work on your desktop-based application on any other. Okay. Also, it is an open source software, so it's preferred over the rest of the testing softwares. Along with it, it supports all the browsers. It can be any browser, Mozilla, Chrome, Firefox, IE, any of them. And plus the benefit is that almost on every operating system, the Selenium is suitable. If you have Windows, if you have Linux, Unix, if you have Mac as well, on that also the Selenium is supported. Okay, now what is Selenium that we got to know? But what are the components that we need to know and learn when we are working with Selenium? So the very first component that we need to learn is the programming language. Now when I talk about programming language, the programming language can be any which is object oriented. Okay, it can be Java, C Sharp, Ruby, Python. In this course we are doing it with Python. Okay, and the second component that we need to learn for Selenium to work with Selenium is Selenium itself. Now when I talk about Selenium itself, so Selenium is not a small word. Inside it there is a number of things that we need to learn, like what is the interface, WebDriver, then there is Jenkins, how we can integrate our Selenium with Jenkins and with the Git. So there's a lot of things that we need to know when we are working with Selenium. Okay, so we'll be coming to them one by one. Okay, now there are many other frequently asked questions. One of them is that what is the advantage of learning Selenium? So there are many advantages of learning Selenium. First of all, it's an open source and a free tool, so it is preferred. Plus, it's operating system independent. So there is no need of working on a specific operating system, or there is no browser demands. You can run on every browser. Since I've told you that programming language can be any, so it supports multiple programming languages. You can work with Selenium in any of the programming language. Okay, then there is availability of frameworks. The frameworks are discussed very briefly in the further modules. You will get to understand them one by one. Then there is the easy integration with other tools. You can easily integrate it when we'll have to integrate it with the GitHub, then with the Jenkins. It's very easy to do that. Okay, then the Selenium allows you to run the test cases on the parallel basis. You can run a batch of test cases at a single time. Okay, plus there is no dependency on the graphic user interface. Okay, the next asked question that people do ask is which projects and frameworks are covered in the course. So it's not compulsory to just know that which frameworks and projects are covered. The thing is to understand what's actually going in these projects and frameworks. Okay, so first of all, if we take a condition, let's suppose there is a client who asks you to automate around 200 test cases. So what you will do is you have to manage all those test cases in such a way that they can be reusable. You need to understand that intelligence between the test cases, right? You cannot just go and write some test cases. You need to use some kind of logic or intelligence between the test cases to reuse it. Then if there are 2000 test cases, they will take minimum 4 to 5 hours to run properly. Right. Now, it's not also compulsory that all the test cases will be successfully running. There might be failures as well. So I do need to have some HTML reports which will be having the logs and screenshots of the failures or at which time which test case is running. So I need to know that as well, right? Then it comes that after running the test cases, if there is some issue, then I need to send the emails to the end users so that they can understand that there is some issue and they can rectify it. The integration with Jenkins and Git is also important because sometimes the people who are working on the test cases are working on their local machines. So it's not always important that only one person is working. If it is on different local machines, then you can put your code. Everyone can put the code in the Git, and Jenkins can run the code once and for all. Okay, we'll be discussing Jenkins and Git in detail. I'll just will keep it like this because over here these terms don't make any sense, but still this is required when you're working with some project or framework. So you need to understand this before going into the framework's detail. Then we have the integration of test cases with grid. When we talked about advantages, we understood that Selenium provides the facility to run the test cases parallelly. Now, in parallelly running test cases, it can be possible that the test case is on the single machine or on different machines or at different browsers. So, according to that configuration, we need to set this grid system so that we can run all the test cases along. After that, it's also not possible that in 2000 test cases we can hardcode the data. Every time we will not be able to change it if there is a little minor change. So I need to have some dynamic data over where I can just make the changes and the changes are applied to all the test cases. Okay. Then we have to learn the right way to write the test cases. Because only writing the test case is not important. Important is to write the test cases in the correct manner. Then it can also be done that if there are 2000 cases and it's taking 4 to 5 hours, the client can change the requirement and can say that only handle the failed cases separately. So we need to have the test case structure in a way that I can run some specific cases according to their statuses. Right? So these are some things that you need to understand before starting working with the frameworks or projects. And these steps that I have told you, these are the different approaches that we can have. Now when I talk about approaches, there are two different approaches that are covered in the course. One is the data-driven approach and second is the hybrid approach. Okay, by time we'll reach at this point and these are the frameworks and you can call projects that we'll be covering. After that, we have the questions that how much time will it take to learn Selenium. So if you want to learn Selenium, you need to put some time and effort. If you are putting proper time and effort, then it will take only 2 to 3 weeks to learn Selenium. Okay. Also, people ask that how much time to learn Selenium and crack interviews. So if you want to learn Selenium in that much level to crack the interviews, so you need to put a lot of efforts and time to understand it and get the expertism in. So for that, you need at least 6 to 8 weeks to give to the Selenium practice. Okay. Then it's a very frequently asked question that there are some beginners who are learning Selenium. So yes, if you are you are learning programming for the first time, so you can of course work with Selenium because the course details, I'll show you the course details. All the course modules are made in such a manner that even if a beginner is learning, it's from the scratch so that he gets to understand one by one, step by step what's going on. Okay. And the question is asked that what is covered in the course duration. So as I told you that if you are a beginner, then the Python basics are covered first of all. Then we move to the test cases, that how we can write some test cases. Okay. After that, we understand what is Selenium and what are the commands that we can work with. And later on, we have some projects or frameworks, you can say. And then we have the integration with Git and Jenkins. Okay. So this is all that has been covered in the course by the time. If I'll take you to the website. Now over here you can see that in the course details, you can see that we have the modules along with the timings. How much duration will it take you to cover the module, a particular module. And inside the topics, if you go to the more topics, the topics are elaborated in a different manner, right? They are briefly defined that which topics are covered in the whole course. And as I told you that the Python basics will be covered before the start of the PyTest or the writing the test cases. So the first 10 modules, you can see the first 10 modules are just covering the Python basics. And this thing that is taught in this particular 10 modules is more than sufficient to work with Selenium. Okay, then after moving further, you can see that we are having a PyTest. So this PyTest is nothing but a framework to write the test cases. And over here till module 15 we have the PyTest covered properly, in which we are having some generation of reports, adding messages and screenshots, right? After module 15 we are working with Selenium, and then we start working with what is Selenium and the commands of it. And at last, if you move further to the module 23 and 24, we have our frameworks over here. And if you move further in the frameworks, you will be able to see that which topics are covered over here in the framework, and along with the live project example as well. Okay, so if you want to switch to this course, it's very much easy and compatible. Everything is from the scratch, so you'll not feel any difficulty. Still, if you feel any difficulty, we have an option of putting some query. You can see over here at the left side, query resolution form. You can put your doubts over here easily, and we'll be there to solve your queries. Okay, so this was all for the overview of our course. Thank you.